Okay, you're on.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for coming. My name is Chuck Benz. I'm the security officer at Phoenixville Federal Bank downtown. I've been with Phoenixville Federal about 15 years, and I've been doing fraud for about pretty much my whole banking career, which is about 25 years now. I guess I'll probably have to start with a disclaimer that anything we talk about tonight is any instances I give you are, there won't be any names. It's like Dragnet. I can't mention any names, but they are real things that have happened, things that I can talk about that I've seen happen. And also this isn't really legal advice or anything like that, but I'm a community banker, and I have people come in all the time, Chuck, what should I do? And I try to give them the best advice I can based on what I know. I do have a lot of contacts and a lot of interaction with local law enforcement, so most of the things I speak of are correct, and I'm pretty sure of what I say and what I'm talking about. So, and unfortunately, that's because of the frequency of fraud. So, a lot of the fraud, of course, I get it through the bank because people's bank accounts are getting compromised. There's so many ways that this happens now. It's debit cards, it's direct account fraud, it's what we call account takeover. There's so many different angles now that people come at you. Most of the fraud is really targeted towards seniors, and a lot of the fraud is also targeted towards the real young ones. The real young ones usually get the internet stuff, gullible stuff that you wouldn't think that, like, really? But the seniors really get hit hard with these things because, hey, I'm just about a senior too, but the technology changes, it happens, and the things happen so fast, and so, like, it's just beyond belief. I don't know, to me sometimes, like, how creative these people are and how good they are at what they do. For instance, if you have a Facebook page and it's somewhat public and you can just put your name on Facebook and just take a look, I can find out so many different things just on that. I can probably find out who your children's names are, who your grandchildren's names are. Simple stuff, and just because you're tagged on a Facebook post, for somebody's birthday a year ago. And I've got already a whole lot of information. Where you work, many people put on where they work, where they went to college. And I have a Facebook page. Mine's somewhat locked down. I don't put on there, for instance, where I work, because sometimes the job I do is sensitive. But there's a lot of things I'm very careful about. I mean, it was Father's Day this weekend as a post. My wife put it up there, Chuck and the boys, and so I mean, yeah, you want to live your life, but really all the things that are out there, it's just amazing when you put everything out there. That some of these people are so darn good, so darn crafty. Like, you just really wish they would spend their time doing more productive things. So I gave a very small handout from a very large book. So I'm going to just mention this book first. So this booklet came out, I think it's 21. I should put my glasses on, shouldn't I? From 21, yeah, June of 2021. It came out from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and a joint effort with the FDIC. This is like, it's almost the Bible of scams. It is a lot of scams in here. And I did bring a stack for anyone who'd like one to take one on the way out, and I'll leave a nice supply for the library as well. So we would be here probably till Thursday if we went through this whole book. There's just so much here. But I wanted to pick out just a very small sample, and that's what I thought would be, because I think these are the most annoying and most common. And it's telephone and internet scams. And they only mention like 2 or 3 things in here. There are hundreds of telephone and internet scams. And I think the first thing that I always thought was so funny is, remember years ago they had the do not call list, and you put your name on the do not call list. You see how well that's working out, right? It's really good. So I'm at the point personally where we have, anyone have a home phone still? The home phone, really, think of how many times is it something real on that? It's always bad. It's like 9 times out of 10, it's nonsense. And now it's flooding over to the cell phone. I get calls all the time about car warranty. Extended warranty is the number one thing I get on the cell phone all the time. And now, but at home, it's just brutal. It's everything. You know, home warranties, roof work, you know, it's all unwanted stuff. At least election's over, at least we're not getting those. Those are the real spam calls. Anyway, so the do not call registry, whether, you know, it really didn't work. I mean, it didn't do what it was intended to do because, you know, crooks don't play by the rules. They really don't play by the rules, so they just keep calling. But I want to talk about a couple scams that are very common, and these are targeted mostly towards seniors. And the one real big one that it's really hard to imagine that people fall for, but it's called the grandparent scam, and it's in here. And you will frequently get a, well, the way this is teed up is that they're either gonna call you, usually it's at an odd hour, and they're gonna actually pretend to be one of your grandchildren. Now, they're either gonna take a stab that you have grandchildren, or they're gonna, again, social media check you and find a name of one of your grandchildren. And they're gonna say they're in some sort of peril. And and it's happened, I've had it happen at the bank in the last year at least 3 times. Either they're in jail, or their car is in need of desperate repair and they can't move and they're stuck in Tijuana, you know, something outrageous. Or they're in the hospital, they had an accident, and the hospital won't release them unless they have cash to pay the bill. That's the other big one. And, you know, you and us talking about this sounds, yeah, that's crazy. Who's gonna? But let me tell you something. When you have someone on the phone who's distressed and is crying and saying, "This is your granddaughter," and you'll say, "Marie, is that you?" Yeah, it's Marie. And you would be surprised how many people go for the whole thing, hook, line, and sinker. And again, it works because these people are good at it. They're just good at it. There's just no other way to say it. And they will convince you to come down to your bank, to take out large amounts of cash, a couple $1,000s, and usually they'll ask you to either wire it somewhere, or, which is even more unbelievable, they'll ask you to go buy gift cards. Now, many of the retailers are on board with this, and they supposed to be, you know, when they see people buying inordinate dollars volume of gift cards. And if you go to CVS, you know, they have a rack of gift cards, and someone goes in there and buys like $5,000 worth of iTunes gift cards. They're supposed to be asking questions, but a lot of them don't. And, you know, the retailers, I'm not talking bad about the retailers, but they're not out any money. In fact, they're making a sale. So, you know, there's not a real big compelling reason to stop that. And the bigger the retailer, the more often it happens, like Target cards, Walmart cards, Best Buy cards. So they will then convince the person to buy these gift cards and either take a picture of them and text them, or read the numbers off. And and immediately they're used. And usually they're used to buy goods online. See, it's like now you do like 3 steps. And they'll buy goods online and they'll use those goods and sell them. That's what they'll do. So there's a lot of money in it. Yeah, it's a lot of steps, right? It's a lot of steps. And what the main thing they'll do is they'll tell, you know, when Marie is, you know, was in the hospital because she had a bad accident, don't tell mom, don't tell, or you know, Johnny's in jail. Please don't call my father, don't call my father, don't, because they don't want you to obviously check the story out. And it happens a lot, and a lot of people fall for it. So you always got to try to, you know, you don't want to ignore it, because, you know, what if it really is your grandson or granddaughter, but you have to check always have to check the story, always have to check the story. Another one is this IRS telephone scam. This is another one, and this is a real beauty. I've gotten these calls before. So So someone from the IRS is on the phone and they are urgently calling you because you owe money, you owe back taxes. You have to get these paid or you're gonna go to jail. The sheriff is on the way. We've heard all these things. And what they'll do, again, it's very similar, is they will really scare you and scare senior citizens into thinking, oh my, I gotta pay this. And they will actually stay on the phone with you and take you. I had a man, it was a different scam, but the same concept. He wasn't sure what was happening. This was just last week. And he came into my office to talk to me. But one of my staff actually sent him back. You need to talk to Chuck before you do what you're doing. And he came back. And it was a situation, and he says, he's going like this. He had the phone on speaker in his pocket, because that's what they told him to do. They told him to do that. Well, this is the same thing. The IRS person is on the phone, and they're in your pocket, and they're listening to make sure you go to the bank, where you're gonna get sheriffs at your house, and they're gonna arrest you for not paying your taxes. And let me tell you, these, again, why does it work? I mean, there's a whole list of things here. You can look on your own. Well, I'd rather just talk about it. Why does it work? Because they're really good at it. They really convince you. They really scare you. They know just what to say to really scare you. And a lot of people comply. And the thing is this, too. If you fall for it once, I can guarantee you they're going to come back probably within a week with more. It's always that way. It's always that way. You know, we have internal, you know, we have a lot of people that often come in and they're scammed often. And I hate to say it, but I have a name for it. I call it the sucker list. Because once you're on the sucker list and you get scammed once, there's a good chance that you're going to get scammed again. Because you get on that list, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, you know, just like a telemarketing list, I don't know how they figure it out and share this list, but it seems a lot of the same people, when you fall for these things one time, they come back for you again. And they will, and they'll keep coming back for you until you really catch on. And again, how do these happen? How do you get the money to them? Well, it's the same thing with the grandparents scam. They come in, they'll ask you to take out money, do a wire, do gift cards. Now, really, let me ask you, so this is when you think, when you take a step back and look at it, all right? Why does the IRS want Walmart gift cards to get paid back taxes?
Right.
Seriously, why? But can I tell you how many people fall for it and think it's legit? I mean, it's really incredible. But again, they're so good at putting such intense pressure on people and scaring people. I don't think they think it through. I really just don't think they think it through. And you know, and to me, that's what I think. They'll call and they'll pretend they're police. If you hang up on them, they'll keep calling back pretty much until you are very firm with them. If you have a way to block the number, the best thing to do is try to block the number. But they're very persistent. They're very good. The other thing I want to tell you specifically to IRS, if you've ever dealt with the IRS, all right, everything they do is by mail. They don't do anything. They don't call you ever. It's very rare. I don't even think during COVID, maybe during COVID when they weren't meeting with people, when you had to go, they might have done a phone appointment, but that would have been a set up thing. They never just call you out of the blue. And I don't think you could even phone the IRS. I think everything is done written.
They never threaten you either.
They don't, well, no, they don't. Not like that.
Yeah.
Not directly.
Yeah, they have other ways to get you.
They have other means to
Yeah.
get your tax money, but that's not it. And if you go on the IRS website, I think it's irs.gov, it tells you on there like how they contact you and what the legitimate ways are. But again, just to imagine, you know, you get that call and people really pushed into it. Another common one, lottery and sweepstakes. I don't know if you've all gotten this too. You won a lottery. A lot of these lottery and sweepstakes scams, even if they jump the telephone they actually send you a check. You get a check in the mail with a letter. We've seen these come through many times. And most of my customers are smart and they'll come in and they'll ask me, is this real? I'm like, did you enter the Irish lottery? Well, no. So then guess what? It's not real. And, you know, but there's another thing. And what the scam will be is they'll send you this check, and with the letter it tells you to cash the check and wire that. That check is just a little bit of money to help you release the funds, So they'll have you cash that check and take that, it's usually $3,000 to $5,000. Take that money, wire it to wherever they want you to wire it, and that will release the prize money, which you'll get just a few days later. Okay, well, you can imagine, you cash the check, you wire the money, and you gotta do it right away. Tells you in there, do it right away. By 3 days later, the check comes back to the bank, and the bank calls you and says, this is a bum check. So now you owe the bank $5,000, and you're not winning any lottery. So now you got a really big problem. And that's always how it happens. It happens every single time that way. It's a shame because, you know, obviously any bank wants to collect. They don't want to end up losing. And the sad part of it is you know, there are people, you know, the lottery. You know, I know my grandmother would pray to win the lottery. Like, we literally would go to church, in Catholic church, and pray to win the lottery and light a candle. No, she did. I'm not kidding you. And, you know, so sometimes, you know, this is an answer to people's dreams. I won the lottery, and they so want to believe it. And they'll come in and they'll talk to me, and they won't even believe me when I'm telling you it's not right, it's wrong, it's a scam. They don't, and you know, that makes me feel bad too, but they don't want to believe me. And, you know, I can't make them, I don't always win every battle.
You have to give them the money.
Some people go through with it, and they want to do it, and they believe it's real. And I tell them what's going to happen, and I think I'm about 100% on those lottery scams. I don't think no one ever came back and said, no, I really did win $1 million, so there, they never do.
How does it, I'm not following, so they get a call that they have, I didn't follow.
So you'll get an envelope in the mail with a check in it, a check that looks really nice, it looks like a really good check.
So you go to
with a letter, and it says, you won the Irish sweepstakes in Belfast, Ireland, your name was picked.
Okay.
And you won a sum of $83,000. So in order to prepay the taxes, to release the money out of Ireland, we've sent you this check for $5,000.
Oh, I see.
So you need to cash that check, send us the money, so we can release, so we can release the funds for your sweepstakes.
And it actually works?
Oh my gosh, so many people bite it, they bite right on it. Do it right away. And again, why? Because they've been looking to, you know, win this lottery for years. Playing, not that one, but, you know, buy tickets, Tom Wolf's tickets, whoever, state lottery. Yeah, sure. Did you ever enter the Irish lottery? Well, no. Well, Publishers Clearinghouse too. You know, there is legit stuff with Publishers Clearinghouse, but there's also a lot of places that mimic it and scam it. And that's been a big thing. That's kind of stopped now, because that's kind of an old thing. I don't even think, is that even around anymore? But that was not that long ago, because I remember it.
You mean Publishers Clearinghouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still around.
They're still around. And they do have a legitimate
They're just online, they don't send
sweepstakes.
you all that mailing.
Does anybody even get magazines anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upstairs, right? Like, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, well, anyway, yeah, but there were places that used to mimic them. Pardon me. There were places that used to mimic them a lot too. And just in all these scams, so you know, once you send a wire, I'm gonna tell you, it's gone. In 99 times out of 100, I can't get it back. Never. If you read gift card numbers over a phone or take pictures, they're gone. That's totally non-recoverable. And no store is gonna make good on either. You can go to Best Buy and plead your case, I was scammed, this was all fake, legit, not legit. Best Buy made a sale for $3,000, they're not gonna write it off because you made a mistake.
I don't understand how the gift card, the photo, or, you know, or the picture of the gift card works.
Has a number on it. It's like a credit card. You know, you buy a gift
That's
card,
all
it has
they need?
numbers.
That's all they need?
Or if you have to scratch it, they'll tell you to scratch it and send a picture of it. Yeah, because you can go online and buy something and pump in the gift card number, right? And you buy it right there.
I'm not following this one either, where do you get the, who,
So.
I don't know, I'm sorry, I was a little late.
That's okay.
but
I don't mind- I don't
missed
mind.
the gift card scenario.
So, it's the same, it's just another way of making a payment. So, we've had, again, we talked about the IRS scam, okay? The IRS scam, people will come in and say, you owe us this much money, we need it now, the sheriff's on the way unless you go and do this. They'll come in, actually, they can even bypass the bank on this one. They go to whatever retailer, they may say, we want Apple gift cards, or iTunes gift cards,
To
or.
pay the IRS?
That's right. See, you won't believe it, but a lot of people do.
Kidding.
A lot of people do. And they'll buy those cards, and they'll tell them as soon as you get it, you need to take a picture, scratch off the thing, if they're scratch off ones, I think the Apple ones are, you have to scratch off the code. And send it immediately, and send it to this number, and then as soon as they get it, they spend it. So it's gone as soon as they get it. And it's going through so many steps, completely untraceable.
I think I'm a little hung up on what happens to the picture of the gift card at that retailer. How do they know that it's,
Well, so remember, now the thief will take just the number, and they'll buy the stuff online.
oh, it has to be, oh, that's why I'm not
They
familiar with
they
it.
never go to the retailer.
I got it, that's why I'm not
They
familiar.
go online.
Got it.
Walmart.com, Target.com,
Okay.
BestBuy.com, Apple, iTunes.
Okay.
They'll buy all that, they'll just buy it there. Yeah, it's really, and it's gone. Again, no retailer's gonna care, I mean, not that they won't care, I shouldn't say they don't care, but there's nothing they're gonna be able to do about it. And the same thing, when you go down to the, let's see, local, where's Western Union? I think there's one in the Acme. If you go down there and you Western Union, I can guarantee you that money's gone. It's almost impossible to get. We've had maybe one or two times where we've been able to get money back after a wire because they already knew there was fraud on the other end and they froze funds, but I'm telling you, that's a rare time. You know, when that money's gone, as soon as that hits their account, I mean, if you have mobile banking, I have an app that says every time a deposit's made, I get a little ding on my phone.
Yeah.
You get it? So guess what? Oh, you know, sucker in Pennsylvania, in Phoenixville, just sent that 5,000. Run down there and get that money out, and they do. And they do, and it's gone. And then I can't get it back. Western Union can't get it back. So it's gone. So you really, when you send money, it's for real. So they'll tell you on here, tips for avoiding telephone scams. I'll let you read that on your own. I don't really like to read things right out of the book. But again, you know what, there's a couple things on here that's worth talking about. Of course, you usually, like I said, you can't win sweepstakes or a lottery that you didn't enter. Pretty common sense, okay? And you never pay to play a legitimate sweepstakes. You never have to pay to get money out. The more pressure they give you, the more you know it's not real. The more they're pressured. You know, I used to even say that in sales, like, you know, you ever go, when you used to, well, I don't know, people even buy cars anymore, but you go to the car dealer, you know, and they tell you, you know, if you walk, you know, this, you can't, you know, I can only do this today. I never believed that. I never believed it. I said, you can give me a price today, you can give it to me tomorrow. And it's the same thing here. It's just so much pressure, you know, and it's in a negative way too. You know, you're gonna be arrested, or, you know, I can pay my taxes tomorrow. No, you gotta pay it now, and you gotta do it with a gift card. Or it's an emergency. I mean, I know, it's so funny, but I'm telling you, you wouldn't believe how much it happens.
Real quick question on avoiding phone scams. I'm surprised one of them you don't have, or they don't.
Don't answer the phone.
Exactly. Use your answering machine.
It's good, because they usually don't bother to
Nope,
leave a
they won't.
message.
Nope. So if it's somebody you know, don't leave a message. Yeah, either your house phone, your cell phone. I never answer the phones.
Yeah, with cell phone stuff, they're actually leaving messages.
See, I've never had one.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I used to get them all the time.
Yep.
So I'm gonna tell you guys, I don't have voicemail on my cell phone. People know, if they really know me well enough, they'll text me. Like, I see a
And you
missed
would
call.
recognize the
If I
number.
see a missed call, I'll call you back if you're, you know, somebody I know. But yeah, I get these missed calls I got rid of the voicemail. I couldn't stay dialed in there to hear about my car warranty. I swear, I just couldn't take it.
I never get that.
Yeah.
Why-
Or Medicare.
Oh, yeah, Medicare, it's
Oh
another
my
one.
God, it's non-ending.
Yeah, and,
A car warranty and Medicare, over and over.
the other thing I'm gonna tell you about, well, and then also we talked about secrecy. Whenever they tell you, don't tell anybody, they don't want you to consult with anybody, you know. There are two activities here, and I think they're probably just worth doing. I think we kind of talked about them. I'll read it, and then we can just talk about it. So here's scenario one. So Jane is home watching TV, the telephone rings. She answers the call, and the man on the line says, "Congratulations, you won $2.7 million in the lottery." Jane's surprised. She buys lottery tickets, but she hasn't given her name to anyone. The caller tells her that there are a couple of things she needs to do before she can receive her check. He directs Jane to go to the bank and withdraw $2,700 to cover processing fees. He tells her to forward the funds through a local wire service or buy and send special prepaid gift cards that will expedite the process. Jane heads to her bank to withdraw the money. The next day, the person calls, say they received the funds, and an additional $5,000 is now needed to pay the taxes. So what were some red flags that should have warned Jane that she was about to become a victim? What do you think? Anyone?
Random call.
Okay. She didn't enter that, any lottery, right? Not with her name. You buy lottery tickets, they don't know your name, right? So how did that happen? What else?
No one would have to, legit organization would want you to prepay any of the fees.
Right.
That would not happen.
Doesn't make sense. I'm disappointed the banker didn't stop and ask, but, oh well.
Yeah.
I think I'll get shameless plug, Phoenixville Federal, they would have asked.
Well, now there
Because it's a lot of
are
cash.
there are really clever ones, right, Chuck? Very clever.
They're really unbelievable. So here, a few weeks later, Jane used a prepaid card, poor Jane. She transferred money to the scammer, so she must have bought those gift cards. She transferred the money to the scammer. Then she received, and obviously she didn't get the lottery, did she? Well then, guess what? Remember what I said about this sucker list? I hate to say, but it's true.
Oh my God.
So then, 2 weeks later, after she didn't get the lottery money, she gets a call from a guy who claims to be an attorney representing the sweepstakes winners. And the attorney said, "I can recover the winnings for you, but you have to pay me $7,000 up front." What do you think she's gonna do?
Oh, God.
Jeez.
What should she do?
Call the police.
Right.
Call
To
the police.
Hang up,
Hang up.
block the call the police.
Yep.
Nothing against the police, but I'm gonna tell you, when I love my local police, they are the best. I love them all, they are great. We have some of the best police in Phoenixville, great officers. Brian Marshall's fantastic as our new chief, wonderful guy. There's almost nothing they can do about this. This exceeds resources that any local or state or county police have, I'm gonna tell you right now.
But they do
Most of
like
these
to
people-
know what's going on.
They would like to know, but there's very little they can do. These people can be anywhere. This money can go out of the country very easily. The FBI, you know, we used to, it's going back a long time. We used to actually, I still have a contact in my phone with an FBI agent. There's an office in Westchester. But this is probably going back about 8 years ago. They're stretched so thin now that unless it's $1 million, they don't even look at it. They're not interested. So, you know, who's gonna help you? There's nobody. The state, county, they can't do it. And our big agencies aren't looking at anything unless it's $1 million.
How do these people know to pry on the elderly though? What do they just go by age?
Yeah,
How do they find them, you know?
well, yeah, it's a good, social media is a big thing. Before you got here, we were talking about your Facebook page
Okay.
and how much information, if you're on Facebook, I can probably find out your grandchildren's names, your daughter's name, possibly where they live, clicking on their profile. I could find out so much. There's also software out there that I actually have because I use it for investigations, but it trolls everything on the internet, and I would just need your name, your approximate age, I don't even need that, and maybe your city, and I could find out so much. I could find out your home address, probably what car you have, your relatives. I can find out so many things in 30 seconds on an app I have on my phone, right? And I use that actually when I'm trying to look for people, actually for good things. We have a lot of people that leave funds at the bank and they leave and they move and they forget about it. So before we send it to the state, which I really don't like to do, we really go through anything we can to try to find people. So that's why I have that software. We try to locate people.
Are they using
Really neat.
facial recognition?
No, this is all just social media and internet searches. So anytime your name appears on the internet or in any kind of social media, Facebook, Twitter, they can find you. LinkedIn is a big one for professionals.
Do you think facial recognition, though, is gonna be more and more of a problem?
Yeah,
I mean, identity theft?
I know that
A
they talk.
problem in what way?
Yeah.
Well, if they can identify, if they can tell you're a senior, number one. And let me see, and it could be a way to steal your identity, which is maybe more.
You're going way beyond my
Take
scope.
your face.
Actually, it's gonna be that app like Been Verified. You put a
That's what
person's
I
name
have.
in.
That's
yeah,
what I have now. You know.
Name, address,
I can get so much
Age.
information.
relatives,
Okay.
where you lived
I'm
previously.
taking all that off.
You can't.
Yeah,
It
it's,
Good
can,
luck.
it's on there forever?
Yeah.
if you have time after when we're done, if anybody
Okay.
wants to be a guinea pig, I'll put your name in. I'll tell you how much stuff. I'll tell you how much I could find. You'll be shocked. I've demoed it for people before, and they're shocked at how much information I can get.
Can I trust you?
I work right down the
I'm
block.
joking.
I'm very trustful.
I'm joking. It's like, that's what you get to in this world, though. It's like,
No, I
how
know.
do you trust?
So, and here's another thing I want to point out about the telephone. You guys know what spoofing is? Spoofing.
Mhm.
Everybody know what spoofing is?
Remind me.
Spoofing's not fun. This is when you get a caller ID and it says it's one thing, but it's not what you think it is. So this is terrible, and we actually had this happen in our own bank right here. They will call local numbers and they'll put a local business name up. See, now here's something that should be, you want to talk about something that should be illegal? That should be illegal to do that. I don't know that it's illegal, but whatever the software is that enables you to do that, there's no good purpose to have that where it alters your caller ID
Right.
label. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I can't think of one good application for that. There's no good application that have to do, why do you need to conceal who you want? I can see you want to block, maybe you don't, you want to block your number when you call someone and it says private or restricted. That's one thing. Like I've had to call, customers from my personal cell phone, and I don't necessarily want every customer to have my personal cell phone number for different reasons. And I may put a temp block, I can do that, where it just blocks, so it just says private caller. But I'm not altering the caller ID. So I'm up to no good, and I'm gonna alter the caller ID that says Wells Fargo Bank, and I'm calling you. And maybe that's your bank, maybe it isn't, but it's a shot. It's actually, if you're gonna do that from a bank, most of them are from Wells Fargo Bank, a big bank.
Mhm.
Because the odds are, right, more people bank, Wells Fargo Bank is, not my favorite, but, a lot of people bank there, they're a big bank, right? They're a big bank. So let's take a shot in the dark. Citizens Bank, calling you, Citizens Bank on your phone. Geez, maybe I better answer. Maybe there's something wrong with my credit card.
Yeah. I mean,
Citibank.
it looks legitimate.
Or Capital One, it will say, oh, maybe there's something wrong with my credit card, I better answer.
The best is when you get a call from yourself.
I've never had that.
I've had that a few
That's a
times.
good
with
one.
myself.
I did too.
Yeah, yes.
I did too, it was scary.
How does
Really?
that happen?
Yeah, I didn't
The
answer it.
spoofing, what these scammers will do is they will pick a number and use it and then just go, like my cell is 484-539, and they'll start 000-0001, and they will blast everybody. And they will just randomly change the numbers, and I've had more than once. No, I'm calling myself. I wonder what that's all about.
Wow. Yeah, I got a lot of bad calls from my area code and exchange.
Yes.
And then it's random from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've gotten
The last four are
that.
goofy.
Right.
They're just goofy numbers. That's what really prompted me to finally say I'm done with the voicemail, because I get so many calls from 610-316,
Right.
blah, 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 and I don't know who they are.
And
And at
they're
first I
doing
was,
that because
I
they-
knew one person who
Yeah.
had the same number, and I had to tell him, sorry, Chris, you're blocked.
Yeah.
I blocked them all.
Yeah. And even the landlines, they'll do the same thing, because you'll look at it and go, oh, it must be one of my neighbors calling.
Right, they're doing
Right.
it because they're comfortable with it.
Right.
And who knows what's at the other end of it.
How about Trojan horses?
Well,
That's a
computer-
whole nother-
That's
Yeah,
computer
right,
stuff.
yeah.
I gotta watch, I can't believe how fast this is going, and I gotta watch my clock already.
What?
But that's the really scary
About
stuff,
10 of.
isn't it?
Let's do the scenario 3 only because I want to wrap this up. And then I had made some notes about some other things I wanted to talk about that aren't as, that are bank fraud related. So scenario 3, and again, when we talked about, Jack lives alone in his home, 40 years. He's become increasingly hard of hearing, which has made it difficult for him to communicate on the phone. One afternoon, he receives a call from a distressed sounding person who says, "Hi, Grandpa, this is your favorite grandson." And Jack asks, "Is this Johnny?" Well, the caller says, "Yes, Grandpa, it's Johnny. And I'm in Canada, I've been arrested." He explains that he needs him to wire $2,500 to bail him out. And of course, Johnny says, "Please don't tell Mom. I don't want her to get upset." Jack hurries to the bank and insists on wiring the money despite warnings from the teller, thank you, and the bank manager, "This sounds like a scam." I'm gonna tell you, it's happened so many times. So, what are the red flags in that one? What are what's a good way you could have figured that this was not good?
Don't tell Mom.
Call Johnny's mom, it's your daughter or daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
You're darn right you're gonna
Yeah.
call, right? And make sure, and she'll say, "Wait a minute, Johnny's sleeping, he's a teenager, he's in bed, it's 11 o'clock. Like my kids, it's 11, he didn't even leave the house yet, he's not in Canada. That's a good way to flush it right out.
Yeah.
And of course, the pressure, it's just, and then insisting on wiring the money. And they don't get into that kind of detail here, but I would doubt the money was wired to Canada. It was probably wired to some crazy address somewhere. So, a couple things. Any more questions on this stuff? I really want to go through a couple things I want to mention that are happening locally, and also that's happening actively now that even I got last week. And this was one that I had a customer come in, and I saved him from, I'm gonna say I saved him from wiring $15,000 out. It was just last week. So, for those of you who have computers at home, okay? I know you've all heard of phishing. It's nothing new. It's not the band, that crazy band, the hippie band. No, phishing is totally different. Nothing to do with fish, okay? Phishing, you get these emails, and that's really what it is. They're phishing. They put a line in, they send a gazillion of these out, and let's see who's gonna bite. And one of the most successful phishing emails that's gone out, and it went out last week actually in mass, is an email from McAfee Virus Protection.
I get it all the time.
Yes.
I get it
That's-
ad nauseum, all the time. I've gotten it for like a year. I always just delete it.
Let me tell you how bad this thing
It
is.
goes on and on.
Let me tell you how bad this thing is. This thing, so the ruse is either you're overdue,
So, yeah.
or you owe them money.
Yeah.
So, or, you're gonna be out, you're not gonna have it anymore, or you owe them money, or better yet, you have an overpayment, you need to claim it, they have money for you, yeah, right.
Oh, no, I got an alert saying that they detected a breach,
Oh,
a
wow.
hack, and I needed to go into my settings and
Ooh.
flush it all out. And I
Oh,
went to Mary Trexler is one of the best employees that he's got, she's great.
Okay, oh, good.
But it was painful for 2 days, because it was everything looked legit.
Well, and it is good, and the thing is, a lot of, and again, this is one of those, like I said, with Wells Fargo calling you, A lot of people have McAfee, a lot of people have McAfee, a lot of them do. So it's a shot in the dark.
But I don't
So
even have it.
this particular person has McAfee, and in fact, he said to me, I just paid them last month $29.99 for my subscription. And he got an email that said that he owed them an additional 200 and something, some crazy number. And he's like, well, what is that? So what does he do? He clicked the link to find out why.
Well, after all, he bought a Mac.
Well, right, he's a customer.
He's a customer.
And the email looks good. It's a
Yeah.
good email.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Wow.
There are tells you gotta hover your mouse over things. Well, not everybody knows these things. Hover your mouse over the email address to see where it really came from.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows these things, but he bit and he clicked on it. And guess what? They got in his computer.
Oh.
And they took over his computer. And guess what they did? They went in his online banking. Oh yeah. And they moved, this was the incredible part.
Oh my gosh.
They told him that he needed to, well, here's how they did it. They told him on the phone that he needed to log in, while they were on the phone with him, to his internet banking. Okay?
Oh, get out.
Oh, yeah, and he did. So they keystroke everything, record everything, so they can get back in to test it out or some crazy ruse. And then they called him the next day, and they told him that they accidentally deposited $15,000 in his account.
Huh.
I'm not kidding you guys, this is real. And
Accident.
they made a mistake and they accidentally put $15,000 in his account. And he needed to get that money out and wire it back to them. So he needed to take it out in cash and wire it out. And so he comes in, this is just last week, this is the guy I told you had the phone in his pocket. And he came in just last week, he went to said person you mentioned before. Of course, they come right, she gets sent to me, and I say, what's going on? And he told me what happened, and he says, right now. I said, first thing you're gonna do is hang up that phone. Okay, first thing you gotta do is hang up that phone. And then when I heard the whole story and understood what had happened, that's when I was able to decipher that they got in his computer, because what they did was, they actually moved money. He did have $15,000 extra in his checking account.
Oh,
And so when he went in there, it looked good,
are you kidding?
except it came from one of his other accounts. They literally moved his money from one of his other accounts. I'm telling you, that's how simple though. And he didn't realize, he didn't notice it. So he saw a $15,000 deposit in his account, and he was prepared to move the money. While we were in my office and I told him to hang up, and I showed him, then I listened to it, and I unpacked it, and I went to the computer, and I said, look, Joe, this is your money. It was just moved from, and then guess, you know how many times that phone rang back while he was in my office? And the man, who did you tell? And then he said, well, my banker told me it's no good. Well, who's he? And it was like an argument. I'm like, just hang up the phone with him. I said, don't answer it anymore. Well, besides that, the damage now is they're in his computer. And I told him, you do not, so I had to wipe out his internet banking account, like no user ID, no password, no access. And I told him you have to take that computer, I guess, to Best Buy and go Geek Squad and let them clean it. Or if it's an old computer, just buy a new one. Because they are in there and they're not getting out. They're not getting out easily. I don't even know what's involved with getting them out of there. But you go in your email, they're gonna see. You log into anything, your retirement accounts, they're gonna see. So they have your bank information now already. Now they only have login information. They won't have his account numbers because we don't list that on the internet. You can't get your account number, your real account number when you're on the internet. But, so changing his user ID and password, and he has a new computer, he'll be fine. But lesson learned, that when you click that link, they get all through your computer, they see anything they want to see. And sometimes they'll wait, they won't strike that quickly, that was a pretty fast strike. So
I
you
get
never,
AOL and I get McAfee all the time.
yeah, never click on those links, never,
All the
unless you're
time,
expecting.
especially the AOL. Oh my
I don't even know
God.
if anybody even uses that stuff anymore, most of the stuff comes with it.
Verizon does.
Verizon,
Uses
right?
what? What?
AOL for their mail.
Yeah, I have AOL for the mail platform.
See, I still have AOL.
But they don't ask me for
That's a problem.
virus
I have
protection.
to get rid of it.
I do, once in a
Do they?
while, yeah.
I don't know, I'm so, some of it's so crazy.
Now, do you also push the multi-factor authentication? Or-
There are some, yeah, we have some of that for some things, yeah, for mobile, especially when you make changes,
Right.
when you make key changes. And we're big with identity theft, red flags, like, we got all these people, unfortunately, they move and stuff, and we're very old fashioned and stodgy, but I won't change it, we will not take a change of address unless you come in and do it, and that's it. And we get a lot of people mad about that, but I'm sorry. If you change your address, you gotta come in and let us know, because the mail theft and all that is so bad right now. And that's another thing I wanted to mention, that a lot of people don't even know about this, and I really want you guys to make aware of it if you're not. If you live in an area where you have a mailbox, when you can put your mail in there, put the flag up, I'm gonna tell you now, never, never, never put a check in there. Your Pico bill, the Verizon bill, a check to your grandson for his birthday, you put the flag up. Take those and take them down to the post office and put them in the mailbox yourself, or hand them to the carrier if you have that opportunity, or walk in there. You put that flag up, and that is a guarantee that someone's gonna, this is the thing now, they steal that mail. They steal that mail, and what they'll do is, now, they don't know there's a check in there, they'll take anything, but if there's a check in there, if you heard of check washing, okay, so that's a big thing. They now have your check,
And
they have your signature, so it looks beautiful. So that thing comes through the bank, and that sails right through like a yacht. It goes right through, because it's your signature. So how do I know you didn't write a check to, Nadine Campbell in Virginia for $3,800? They're always right around that number, so they don't get too suspicious. Until it clears, and it will, and then you'll be like, this check $383, this was to Pico for $302. What's this $3,800? And who's this? And they'll use that check 50 times until you catch it. Well, we'll catch it on a duplicate check number, but they'll keep trying. They'll still keep passing that check. They wash that check. They'll take they get that payee name off of there. They have everything else they need, and they take it off and they use that check 100 times if they get away with it. And you really have to be careful to put nothing in the mailbox. Absolutely nothing in the mailbox. So, I guess I'll close with that. I'm pretty much out of time, unless if you have any questions about any particular fraud. I mean, again, I brought these books for a reason. This is like the Bible of frauds.
Ooh.
These are from the government.
Can I get one?
You get one. There's one on the way out. You
Thank
can
you.
take one.
I need it.
There's a
It only costs us $2,000.
$2,500. You wire it to me. This can be yours. Tonight I have a special. You can actually have one free. I'm going to leave a bunch at the library too, or you can stop in at the bank at Phoenixville Federal and grab one. But again, I thank you all so much. Did you have any questions, or? I mean, it's kind of hard. There's so many things. But.
Well, I have a question, because I got hit with fraud around December with somebody trying to open an account at Wells Fargo, which I've never done any business with. So I guess I'm wondering who you are, because I'm telling you, I had a heck of a time trying to find out anything from anybody about what to do. And it sounds like you seem to know things. Can I come talk to you?
I will. I was actually going to say, and I guess it's okay. My name is Chuck Benz. I'm the security officer at Phoenixville Federal Bank. I'm at 120 Main Street in Phoenixville. I'm always willing. I mean, we're a community bank. I'd like you to be my customer, but if you're not my customer, you may still come in and talk to me. I'd be glad to offer you any advice I can give you. It's free advice, so take it for what it's worth, all right? But from my experience, if something doesn't feel right, and you don't get a lot of that with some of the, again, I'm not trying to say anything, you don't always get a lot of that with some of the banks nowadays. They really don't care, or the people come and go so fast, they don't even have the knowledge.
Right.
My people are trained really to ask questions. Some customers get annoyed when they're asked to hey, just to make sure they're not getting, but they'll ask you, that's a lot of cash, Mr. Smith. You normally don't take out $8,000. Is everything okay? Or would you prefer a check? They'll ask some questions. They're trained to do that. We train people to do that.
Okay.
We know our customers, but I'm always available, and I don't care if, again, I said the same thing at ARP last week. Whether you're my customer or not, I'm in the community, I'm here to serve the community. If you're not sure about something you wanna talk, call me or come on down.
And you've
120
trained Mary very well.
Thank you, I train all my
Yeah,
people.
he likes Mary.
So, I was gonna say, two things. One, you have a, security service that you use for credit cards.
Yes.
And they have caught several things, because they have great algorithms.
Right.
They saved me a number of times.
Well, we could do another class, I'll talk to Mark
But
about
I just
that.
put in a plug
Debit
on
card
I would love
fraud
that.
and card
Yeah.
fraud, and we could talk about skimmers and scammers, and there's a whole world of other stuff we could talk about with cards.
I wanted to show you
We
this.
could
I got
definitely do
today.
that, so,
Got today.
off to my glasses
Oh,
on.
I'll read it.
We'll wrap it up.
Who's who? I've been.
Oh, I got that,
Yeah,
to be in Who's Who.
yeah, it's a scam.
It's a scam.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
I've
Is
gotten
it
that.
free? I bet not.
No,
No, you
no,
get
they
to
want me to
purchase.
click on a link
Oh, yeah.
so that I can enter the who's who.
Oh, yeah.
I've been nominated.
You'll be a who's who, all right.
Right.
Thank you all very much for coming out on a beautiful summer night. Thank you.
Well,